a new episode of science, which is pretty different than what we mostly do, and it's about motion. And first, we're going to talk about is Isaac Newton, who basically has three laws of motion. And we're going to talk a little bit about what he has theories about, which are probably already proven true. Okay.
White is made out of 7 colors.
Yeah, that's correct.
And he broke his eye with a needle to see if it is true.
So, first thing we're going to describe is this thing in this playground. Basically, you need to apply force to this object or else it won't move. Basically, an object stays at rest unless there's some motion that moves it. Just like this, it's at rest, but if you move it, okay, can you turn back? I want to show you an example. You can move it. Yeah, so Kai was the force. Kai was the one who applied force to this object, which was at rest, and now it's moving. And another thing that Newton said is that when an object keeps moving, it is in motion. But when some force stops it, it's not in motion and it's in rest now. That's what he said, which probably really does make sense. Here's another thing I want to show you.
What kind of machine?
Huh? So another thing is that when you're on a slide, you are up. But have you ever wondered why you don't just go floating up into space? Here's one more thing. It is because of gravity. It's a very strong force that doesn't pull you down. It doesn't pull you down. It actually pulls you towards the earth, to the center of the earth. It pulls you there, pretty much on a slide. The earth is basically just like a magnet and making us stick to it, pretty much. That's why we don't all float up into space. Another thing I want to tell you is something like, okay, take example, you roll a ball into a pile of grass. You might notice that the ball stops pretty quickly and doesn't really roll that long. But if you try it on a smooth surface, like maybe a kitchen floor or something, basically any smooth surface, the ball will keep rolling for pretty much a bit more longer time than on the grass, and that is because of friction. If friction didn't exist, we would basically non-stop moving if we were on a bike, and we'd have to basically jump down off the bike to get out. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Oil.
Oil has not much friction. But the desk that doesn't have much friction makes the ball doesn't stop rolling. Basically makes the ball roll a bit more faster and stuff. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Here's an example of gravity pulling us down towards the earth. If there was no gravity, we'd probably not be floating down, but up. Yeah, that's one simple way of gravity. And it's pretty cool. And this slide, I can say here, doesn't have much friction. That's why it can slide easily. But if it didn't have much friction, I'd be sliding down pretty slowly. Yeah, that's pretty cool, honestly. And I want to show you something. Have you ever seen a seesaw before? There's nothing really here, but example, there's always this thing in the middle and a line, and you go up and down just like that. You want to know something? So basically, have you ever wondered what is the middle of the seesaw called? It's called the fulcrum, and it's the thing that holds the two objects together. There's basically 3 types of levers, and a seesaw, you guessed it, was a lever because it has a fulcrum. So there's a first class, second class levers, which seesaw is a first class lever because it is it is having the fulcrum in the middle. The other levers, maybe the second class lever, have the fulcrum at the front and the load at the middle and the pressure at the back. It's very cool, honestly, about motion. And Isaac Newton is very good. It all started with an apple falling off his head, or that's what they say. Probably not true or true, I'm not that sure. And then that's when he discovered gravity and stuff. Yeah, that's what I mostly have to say. Okay, and and basically in playgrounds you can find a lot of motion, pushing and pulling. Pulling is basically you pull the object. Oh, like that. Pushing is to push the object away. Push it.
Like in the door.
Like in the door when you, gosh, let's open the door. It's like pushing is like this. Push. And pulling is pulling it back, like that. Yeah. So that's what I have to say about motion and stuff. It's very, very good. And in the playgrounds you can find many. See if you can find any motion from the swings, the slides, the seesaw, anything. There's motion all around us, and without motion and all the other hidden forces, we'd probably not be alive right now.
And our dance move.
I want to also tell you about some simple machines that we can use in our daily lives. Have you ever noticed that maybe sometimes there are some like maybe pieces of building material that people used to make buildings with and they can't really seem to push it all the way up? There's one thing that is called a pulley, basically a wheel and some string tied around it. The object here, and you pull the force and it goes right up. There are some pulleys that are pretty simple which can handle a few weight, like a little bit of weight, but there's some pulleys that are very, very strong. Here's another good example. Here's another good example of a simple machine, a wheel and axle. You've probably never heard of an axle before. Well, an axle is basically something, basically a rod. Have you ever had a toy car? Look at the wheels in the front and there's like some line that connects them. That's a wheel and axle. They can be used on the cars and they pretty much look like weightlifting things. They are very good simple machines. Another simple machine is the screw. It can hold things pretty much together and use them to assemble things. Those are some simple machines that I know. Ooh, look, a whale thingy. Wow. Look, a whale. Oh. Okay. And another simple machine I want to tell you is like those, a wedge, I think. They can be used to split open things. And they are very useful for cutting open wood. Yeah, that's what I have to say. And also, and look at this whale, by the way. Isn't it pretty? Reminds me of some novel called Moby Dick. That might be exciting. Anyway, so simple machines are very common in our lives. You can see them pretty much every day. Levers can be used to take up big rocks or big bricks. That's very cool. And yeah, that's all I have to say about simple machines. So we've learned today is motion, gravity, what's it called? Friction. The grass has a lot of friction, basically. If I rub my shoe around here, like, it doesn't roll pretty much easily, but maybe in a smooth surface or placed in a different angle. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to tell you another simple machine that is pretty useful. A ramp. Ramps are very, very good and helpful in our daily lives. They can be used to carry or take objects on a pretty easy slope. Yeah, and that's all I have to say about simple machines this time. Okay. Okay. Let's go up the slide. It's a very fun in this playground. Oh gosh. Hang on, Gertie, can you go on this thing? Let me go. I hope we're gonna enjoy around here. Come on, move it. Move. Push it. Whee! This feels like a merry-go-round. 3, 2, 1.
What kind of machine is this?
Machine? Wait, excuse me. You guys have. It has some screws at the bottom, which is pretty helpful. And it can twist and turn. I'm not really sure what type of simple machine, but it does include screws, which can hold this object all together. And I'm applying force to make this thing move. So much science in just some simple activities.
Can you greet Mama?
I love you, Mama. I hope you have a good time in the Philippines. We're going to see you soon. Love you. Gonna go on the whale. Hi, Tatay. Where's Tatay? Dad.
Big coffee.
Oh.
Hi, Mahan. Have a taste of Saudi Arabia. That's good, huh? So good. Try it.
This?
Good.
Gosh.
You want to eat some dates?
Oh. No, thank you.
Hmm?
Those are dates?
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Goodbye. Goodbye, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the field water.